Hello, welcome to the C.O.H.M Church of Healing Ministries. New Year's Eve, 2023, about to be 2024. Give me a second while I get started here. Logging everyone on, making sure everybody is here. We have hello Facebook, hello Instagram, and hello YouTube on all the other verses out there. All right, let's go ahead and get settled. I grabbed my coffee. Just a little bit of coffee today. Need it. Got my water. And we're going to get started here soon. So go ahead and get what you need for the next hour or so. Get what you need to be comfortable to do a nice long meditation today. Today is meditation day and World Peace Day. So we're going to put a lot of energy out there. So I want to make sure you're really comfortable. Okay, so 2023 is finally coming to an end, right? Well, I'm Reverend Jamie, and this is the Church of Healing Ministries where we connect God energy and Gaia to ourselves. And before we get started, I want to do, if you can do us a huge favor and just hit that like, subscribe, all those things, that would be amazing. Leave a comment below also what you want to learn next year. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this last year of learning through the sacred secretion and what if the Bible and ancient texts were giving more of a physiological explanation of the body on how to elevate into a higher consciousness. So go ahead and subscribe so you can be notified when we go ahead and post another video, which will probably be next week. Let's get started though on what this day represents, and we will be able to meditate and clear our holy temple so that we can continue to tune into Christ consciousness and the frequency of Christ, as God cannot live in chaos, right? So we must get into the state of peace, that state of awe, and a state of calm, so we can resonate with those love frequencies. Say goodbye to 2023 and all of the ish, and welcome everything that you've learned, everything on how you've grown, everything on what you decided to make your mind up on. And that's what today's also about. We have a very interesting kind of long day today, so get comfy. Now, we also have Kwanza, which is a controversial holiday compared to some holidays. This particular holiday was created by somebody that was very abusive to women, and so some people choose not to acknowledge it, but some people choose to ignore that and go with the 7 pillars that give 7 days of celebration. So right now, let's just take the 7 days of celebration, regardless of who created the holiday. I understand it could be a sore topic for some, but right now, let's not live in hate, regret, and guilt. Right? Those are vibrational tone frequencies that'll keep us not elevating very high. Hogmanay in Scotland and parts of northern England is celebrated today as a New Year's festival, as well as the Sleep Second Time Adjustment Day. And so this is basically where scientists, if they don't need to make an adjustments, they won't. And if they do, then it'll either be done on June 30th or December 31st. But why would we need to adjust it, right? Isn't this more accurate? Isn't the Gregorian calendar more accurate? Now they say that the lunar calendar kept getting more inaccurate. I don't know. The moon doesn't seem to go anywhere to me, but we digress. So it's Make Up Your Mind Day as well. It's meant to challenge indecisive people to quit waffling around and make firmer decisions, right? Get the art of discipleship so that you know you can't be strong in a path on which you haven't chosen. So when you make your mind up, it's a it's just one of those days to make those concrete steps, making smart goals, right? Obtainable, very, very reasonable goals to be able to take those steps to making up your mind. So that's New Year's Eve, the Gregorian calendar. Is also known as Old Year's Day or Saint Sylvester's Day in many countries. So the evening for the entire day of the last day of the year, the festival of Saint Sylvester is one of the feast of Pope Sylvester I, a saint who was served as Pope from 314 to 335. Medieval legend made him responsible for the conversion of the Emperor of Constantine. So it's no wonder that today is celebrated when Constantine is the reason why Christmas turned pagan symbols and traditions into Christianity. Very interesting. So this whole era of acknowledging Constantine, when Constantine was the reason why we are so confused about what these times and seasons and everything are. So this is kind of that acknowledgement. I don't even want to say celebration because it's not really a celebration. But bottom line is, without the merging of pagan symbols into our Christian holidays, there wouldn't be so much confusion. So I applaud you for coming here and learning the actual meaning of these holidays and what they're supposed to be used for. Today's also Universal Hour of Peace Day and Meditation Day, World Peace Meditation Day. So it's also Unlucky Day. Random, right? If one experienced basically a lack of fortune this year, then today represents the ideal opportunity to transcend and the adverse and pessimistic occurrences that transpired. So if it's unlucky the rest of the year, today it's actually going to be lucky. It's kind of like opposite day. Now, World Peace Meditation Day started in 1986 and observed with over 500 million people in over 70 countries. Now, it started on noon Greenwich time, which means the US was supposed to gather around at 4 a.m. this morning. I wasn't awake. I don't know how many were, but there's plenty of time to be able to put that energy out there. Imagine the energy of 500 million people meditating and putting out the existence of peace. So it's also called World Healing Day for the International Hour of Peace, and it's simultaneous global linking of minds, takes as the bias for the principle of quantum physics that thought can direct energy, creating reality, and meditating on peace can actually create peace. So when we meditate in a second, why don't we do that anyways? Even if we miss the global hour of meditation for peace, we can still be able to connect into the universal mindset that peace is what we want. It's also the week of Christmas bird count. So they get a bird count of every year to make sure that we'll have a good spring. And drive sober or get pulled over week. It's about time week. So we're going to talk a little bit about time. We're going to talk a little bit about the time sphere and the fact that it is time. There's no more waiting. The time is now. And it's also the month of safe toys and celebration, safe toys and gifts, read a new book month, spiritual literacy month, and write a business plan month. So really, it's about time to read a new book and write your business plan. We can tie it all in. Now, the readings are Isaiah 61:10 through 62:3, Psalms 111, and Galatians 4 through 7, Luke 2:22 through 40. So we'll dive into the journey of being a slave to the time sphere and how we can be an heir to Christ consciousness. So let's start by preparing our holy temple. So if you need to go to the bathroom, if you need to do anything right now, go ahead and do it so we can come back here and let it all go and be comfortable and clear the holy temple. with some guided meditation to help align the mind and body and heart frequencies. I hope everyone had a good weekend and we're here and happy, because if we're not, we're about to be. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take some deep breaths as we start to realize how connected we really are through Gaia, quantum physics, universal consciousness, or God energy. We are all here to help one another and teach one another while letting go of ego and living in light and love. So take some deep breaths in, even breaths out. Just keep doing that. Even breath in, even breath out. We are light beings and bioluminescent, leaving heat signatures affecting macro and microcosms. Breathing in and out. Inhale, exhale. Starting to recognize the world around you and feeling the energies in your immediate biosphere. Breathing in and out deeply with even breaths in and even breaths out, allowing energy to come to you from all local elements that are surrounding you right now. Deep breath in. Breathing in alignment with nature. Now, when we breathe in, we want to breathe in for about 4 or 5 seconds. Even breath in, even breath out. And if you want to increase the length, you're more than welcome if you desire. But we're releasing all expectations, all guilt, all misunderstandings that the world has bestowed upon you. Unwilling to let it go, we're going to release it with our exhale. Release that negativity, release that tension, release any sore spots in your body. Send love to those areas. As we sit up nice and tall, like you have a string running up through your spine, straight through your head, sit up nice and tall, allowing that energy to flow and removing any impedance of energy. Sending love. Sending love to any sore muscles or tension. Sending love and releasing it with every exhale. In through the nose. Exhale. Focus on your breath. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And when we breathe out, we say, that is the space of 8 hertz frequency, the same as the heart chakra, the heart organ, the earth's actual frequency. So it connects us, our breath connects us to the planet, to the world around us, to energy, to love. As we align ourselves with everyone and everything, allowing God energy to flow in and through us. Deep breaths in, gathering all that energy, exhaling it. Breathe it in, amplify that love in your body, exhale it. God is love, God is light, God is energy, always is, always will, always was, and always will be, ever flowing, ever giving, never knowing of anger or hate. God energy lives in the space of awe, the space between thoughts in your mind. Deep inhale in, Exhale. Ah. Now I want you to imagine peace and love being sent out from your heart to everyone else watching, everyone around you, and send that light to their hearts and fill it with love. We don't have to try to reach everyone in the world, just the people around us. Plant the seed of peace in their hearts. You have the ability and power given to you to do all things through energy that is of God, light and love. Breathing and allowing peace to resonate in your body and mind so that God can live in your holy temple. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. As we give thanks for abundance, that this is possible when we believe and give the environment to allow love to live and live through us and be amplified through us. We are amplifiers. So we need to get grounded in Gaia, get grounded in spirit, and allow that spirit to flow through us and give it the ability and the environment it needs to conduct the energy to flow through your holy temple. Cannot live in a place of anger or distrust or sadness, but trust, happiness, love. That's where God lies. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Ah. Going to resonate with some sound bowls. Deep breath in, exhale. Ah. Deep breath in, exhale. Ah. Deep breath in. Ah. Resonate in this space of peace and love and carry it with you throughout the day. This is where we can receive the downloads we need to hear from Christ consciousness. I welcome you back to this space. You're more than welcome to open your eyes and start to feel the change in your immediate space, your immediate biosphere, your aura, the world around you, your reality. Welcome. Oh, it's always so nice to have that meditation, isn't it? Let's go ahead and just say thank you. Just say thank you to being able to live in gratitude, being able to connect, being able to be here. It's it's an interesting time. It's not for the faint at heart right now. For some, it's very challenging, and it has been. So we are going to go into that World Peace Meditation Day as it is celebrated to really align and unite people of all backgrounds on a global platform. It also promotes diversity and peace through meditation and collaborating with people of different religions, and ultimately helps to establish world peace and prevent war and violence. Over the years, researchers and social scientists actually conduct various studies, and believe it or not, this actually does some good. During one of the experiments, peace and tolerance were evident and reduced amounts of street crime and violence in all major cities of Lebanon, which similarly researchers noticed that those groups of people that practice the meditation remained calm and relaxed and were less likely to get affected by the adverse effects of war in the country. So World Peace Meditation Day is celebrated by different nations with different names, but people call it World Healing Day, and some even call it Universal Hour of Peace. There's a goal for 10 million. There was some hashtag I saw. So 10 of 10 million, or I don't remember, but look it up. If you're interested in helping the cause right now, which I really hope that you are, because it needs some help for love, peace, acceptance, all the things. So different types of meditative exercises are practiced and invokes feelings of peace and harmony in people. Now, over the years, it's like I said, it's actually been shown to work. So, I wonder how putting love out into the cosmos actually works. Well, here at C.O.H.M, we kind of understand. We kind of do it every Sunday. We connect our hearts to the infinite possibilities of the world by opening ourselves up to that oneness, that universal consciousness, that universal health, that universal understanding, God consciousness, Christ consciousness, energy, you name it. However you want to say it, it's there. Now, Isaiah 61:10 at 6 through 62:3 is all about providing all we need and how God is, when practiced right, and the mind and the 12 cranial nerves come into discipleship, we can actually have that righteousness. And we can grow and heal and sprout like in a garden. Quote, "For as the soil makes the sprout come up and garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness." And we've been learning that when we work with sacred secretion, we have that healing, we have that righteousness, we have that ability to connect in ways that most don't, unfortunately, because they're limited. They're limited by their own belief and understanding of what God actually is, which I don't think any of us mortals can really understand, but we can understand concepts. When we understand concepts for multiple understandings, like science, like metaphysics, like Wiccan, like other cultures and religions and theories, we can kind of piece together something that is more or less a manual on how to elevate off of this planet, off of this plane, into the next existence, evolve for some. Now, in order to do that, we need to further eating right, drinking water, right? Staying hydrated, working with Gaia's cycles as we elevate our Christ oil and be anointed with healing and everlasting life. Now, Psalm 111, again, God provides everything when we allow it and by doing what will please Christ. Now, that is meaning the Christ within who heals and preserves us when we do all that we need to elevate. Now, if this Christ oil is coming out of the pineal gland and able to heal and reach every single cell, then Christ will have washed over us and we will be like new. So then we see Galatians 4 through 7, quote, "But now we also went preface. We were also talking about how the brain and both hemispheres are metaphors for Mary and Joseph, the masculine and the feminine side of the brain, come together in Israel where the pineal and how the back of the brain and the brainstem are situated, kind of looks like it. And that when brought together, you are no longer a slave, but God's child." So, quote, "But when the set time had fully come," which is representation of the moon in your sun sign during that sacred secretion time, "God sent his son, born of a woman, but under the law, to redeem those under the law that might receive adoption to sonship. Right? So when you do the things that needed in your physiological body, that is law, that happens regardless, then you can be one with mind, body, spirit. Now, quote, because you are of his sons, God sent the spirit of his son into our hearts, the spirit who calls out, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but God's child. And since you are God's child, you are made as also an heir. So that means what that's saying is after you do your sacred secretion, you've meditated, you're fasting, you're living in that light, love, and happiness, vibrating that sacred secretion, that Christ oil back up. After that, you are like new, you are healed, you are as strong and have the ability to use those gifts given to you by God to be able to not be a slave to this environment, this world, this society that is supposed to be bringing us down. You won't be brought down. Once you go to the place of pineal and see God face to face and live to tell about it, you will be fine. And that's really the theme, like meditating and being in that state of bliss, regardless if the world is just completely being torn down around you. But when you live in love and light and trust of God and God's plan, which is a universal consciousness. So if you need to be placed in a certain time and place for a certain something to happen that would increase physical and spiritual awakenings, then who are you to fight that? Who are you to question it? Who are you to say, I don't think so? So this healing is your right. You have the right to be able to transform this body into a being of light. It is your God-given right. Now, Luke 2:22 through 40, this is where Jesus is presented in the temple. So when it is time to come for purification rites required by the law of Moses, Joseph and Mary took him into Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. And as written in the law of the Lord, every firstborn son is to be consecrated to the Lord and to offer a sacrifice in keeping what is said to the Lord of the Lord, a pair of doves or two young pigeons. So this is a very long, yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's to wrap it up. We cannot waste time. The end says, the very end, the 39 through 40 says, when Mary and Joseph have done everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee to their own town of Nazareth. And the child grew up strong and was fulfilled with wisdom, and the grace of God was on him. So therefore, we're seeing this when you bring the mind together, both halves, the Mary, the Joseph, the masculine, the feminine, and they are able to receive that Christ oil back up, then they go back in and resonate with what we've learned, into your long-term memory, into your DNA, right? So we can't waste any more time. That's where we're going with this, is that we only have so much of that oil in our systems, and it's to be renewed. We need to renew it, or else once it's gone, it's gone. Now, this is where I think people start to live in a state of chaos, is when they've allowed that sacred secretion time to pass too long. And then it starts to get worse as we get older, but we start getting more scared. We start developing more of a sense of fear. We start to really just not feel comfortable in our environment. Now, when we work with these cycles and we work with the sacred secretion, and we do have that healing, we're able to stay calm and remove ourselves from this physical plane or this matrix. If we lock ourselves into time, right? What is time? And that is what we're trying to answer, right? What is time? How do you not be a slave to this time continuum? How do you be able to tap into the future? How do you tap into the past? How do you tap into that knowledge? So think of time, like how we look at it now is like being able to watch a movie on Netflix, right? You can rewind and go look at the past and know that there's future, right? And it's this linear thing. You born, you live and you die, and you're able to go back and forth and kind of record any of those moments, right? So that's our slave mentality. That is how we are tricked into thinking that time is linear. Time is not linear. This is why is it on our wrist? Why is it like a shackle, right? It's like a shackle on our wrist because it is a way to make us a slave to a time continuum, belief that there's nothing else. If you believe that there's nothing else, kind of creates a lot of confusion, doesn't it? But if we take that beginning and the end of the movie and we connect it into a circle and make that circle a sphere and put everybody on it, it's a different story. It's a much different story. So we're looking at something like, remember those energy balls where you can basically, I'll go ahead and put it in the YouTube, but everybody else, those energy balls where you could touch and all the electromagnetism would go up to your finger and you can kind of direct the energy. Think of time like that, like a time sphere. If we lock ourselves into this linear, we have no ability to communicate to the divine. We have no ability to communicate to each other. And if it were linear, we could not connect through time and space as if we could, heh. Excuse the dyslexia, it kicked in real quick. So if it were linear, there would be nothing after death, right? There wouldn't be, it would just be death. You're done, the movie's done. But if we eliminate that thought, that brings, if we just eliminate that mentality, it brings freedom within the mind. So why do we keep wasting it? Well, today's make up your mind day, so you're not going to waste anymore and you're going to make your mind up to do it. And you know what? Let's make a business plan. Why not? You have nothing else to lose anymore. And if you don't start making a business plan or something to better yourself at this point, it's only going to get worse in the economy. So if you've never been an entrepreneur and you've never really sat down and done all that, now's the time to at least start practicing, because you're going to get good at it eventually. Write your business plan. Don't wait. It's okay. So it's really easy to write a simple, we have a hand raise. Yeah, it's that time. It's really easy. Go look up what a lean business plan is, and it'll give you a really great understanding of how to and what to put in that business plan, and just start gathering information. You put it in a Google Drive doc, put it in a Word doc, put it in anywhere, and just start writing it out. Why not? I'd love to hear a rebuttal to that. No, I don't want to make more money. Said nobody ever. So why do we keep not wanting to read a book? Why do we keep putting this off? Why? Same reason that we keep putting off our spiritual literacy, right? That's work. What if it's not? What if we stop with that mentality? What if we continue with the mentality that all growth is good growth? Because this Gregorian calendar really isn't doing anything for us. And it was really ancient Egypt and Mesopotamians that came up with the administrative calendar of 30 days. So that was easier to calculate than real lunar months, which sometimes had 29 or 30 days, depending. I don't know. I think it's funny that we just keep like messing with cycles and messing with nature, and it's like, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Is it any coincidence that our springs are really far ahead and our winters keep lasting a long time and our summers kind of went 3 months in a fall? So is our calendar really what we need it to be? When we work with the cycles of the planet and the cycles of the moon, the way that they're supposed to be worked with and the way that they're supposed to be utilized, because if you don't know the moon calendar, you're not going to be able to know your sacred secretion. And if you villainize astrology, you're not going to be able to know your sacred secretion. And if you mess with the time sphere, you're not going to know your sacred secretion. And if you go ahead and take pagan holidays and then mix them up with Christian holidays, you're really not going to understand your sacred secretion. So, a war on us is pretty legitimate because it was actually decided in Rome that in order to follow the seasons, the already existing Republican Rome calendar was to be modified and contained 10 months of 29 and 30 days plus a winter of 59 days, which became divided in January and February. As Julius Caesar was one that actually brought this change, he was honored by having the month named after him, Quintilius, 5th, or Julius, or July. And this month was given 31 days. Right? Okay, also being in the beginning of the year, the shifted. So most people that don't celebrate the Gregorian calendar, actually their New Year's is in March 22nd, with the spring. As it springs up, new season, new springing up. Makes a lot of sense to me, but not to Julius Caesar. Okay. Because honestly, it was supposed to be January making the numbered months off with their new rank. So October is not the 8th octo anymore. It was supposed to be, but it's not. Decimal, deci, 10, December. So really, our words and clock and time has been so messed with. Like, what is it? What is it anyways? The only thing that really matters is, can we grow food? Let's be real. Can we grow food? Do we know how to work with the cycles enough to grow food, to supply food for everyone? So if this isn't like the main concern of where your calendar lies, then there may be more than just readjusting that needs to happen. Now, side note, in some languages, the word for moon and the word for month is the same, as they're pretty similar in English, but Romanian has luna for both, and Korean has dal. So those are some little fun facts for you. Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them below. We've just been trying to wrap up as fast as we could everything that had to be said in this very short period of time. But when we really look at this last year, that's why I have a dark background right now, because we're trying to highlight things that we've been keeping in the dark. We've been trying to make sure that we have learned our lessons so we can grow, so we can elevate, so we can leave those mistakes and all of that trauma in the past and turn the other cheek. Because the future deserves our bright, shining, happy, loving faces. It doesn't deserve the trauma that 2003 brought us, right? Yeah. Cheers. I see you, sis. Now, working with your body, working with the planet, working with nature, that is godly, right? That is how we were supposed to live. So when we've come away from God, when we've pulled away so far, we don't give that positive energy the environment to stick around. It's impeded. When energies stop the flow, it has scatter. Energy literally just scatters. And we can't have that anymore. We have to be in control of our mind, our body, and our spirit. We have to be in control of our emotions. We have to be in control of how we think, what we let in our mind. Because it's very dangerous to let all of these possible scenarios that run through our head and run through our social media feed to infiltrate. It's very easy. If you don't believe anything, you can believe everything. And when you believe everything, it's hard to decipher what's real and what's not. And that causes anxiety. When you can't figure out what's safe, what's unhealthy, how to be able to live, that creates anxiety. But when we pull away, when we meditate, when we give Christ consciousness the environment to live and resonate in our holy temples, we can better see how to be able to elevate. Now, when you have your sacred secretion, some just fast during those couple days, which is fine to do unless you have other underlying health conditions. I would consult your healthcare provider or health coach if you need any help in deciding if fasting is right for you. Or you can go on a juice cleanse for 2.5 days and getting those immediate enzymes. The enzymes actually break down after 15 minutes of fresh pressed juice. So you want that right away. And get those minerals, because that minerals is going to electrify with electrolytes your body to be able to elevate and cause a conductive electrical charge that is able to elevate into heaven. So there's a lot of symbolism that we learned this year, right? We learned about milk and honey, and sacred secretion with the CSF and golden melatonin, your cerebral spinal fluid, coming together in Bethlehem, that when you look on a map, it kind of is the shape of your back of your brainstem and the neck. So when we see all of these and we really take into consideration why these things exist, like Santa Claus. Santa Claus wears red. That's a negative bait. Well, not negative, but it's from the base chakra. It's the sacral. It's that sexual energy. It's that fire energy, which is used at certain points in time, right? When you are in your sacred secretion and you are trying to procreate, that is that time to use that energy. Otherwise, we need to vibrate it back up. And Santa Claus was named after Saint Nick. And when we go down the line for names and words we have, it actually means devil, like legitimately. So I don't remember all the names to lead up to that, but like each one's like a little skew of the next line. It's like somebody just played telephone until we got to Santa Claus or Kris Kringle, which is all very indicative of your Christos. Santa Claus, sacred secretion, Christos, Christ oil. All these words that are similar, the English language just really wants to manipulate them because our words matter. Once it comes out of the throat chakra, resonating with the heart chakra, creating existence. So it's really, really important that we watch our words. We watch what we think, we watch what we say. We vibrate with love and not malice intent, because that is the message that the physical Jesus was actually trying to teach us, that somehow got way lost along the way. Really lost along the way. Because if you right now are able to justify war in any way, or the killing or slaughtering or genocide of people, or you're pro that in any way, it's a really bad look on the long term. I'm just saying. It might not age so well. But when we stay in that love, that meditative state, you lead by example. And when you're the one that's not freaking out when the rest of the world is, You've just planted a seed on how to be in that world as an example. You give the example on how to be, how to live. It's that universal consciousness, and we have to plant those seeds by living by example, right? It's not just walk the walk, or it's not just talk the talk, it's walk the walk too. And that's what all these stories are trying to convey. How to walk the walk using your mind, body, and spirit aligned with Christ consciousness and Gaia to be able to form a better reality. And we can use the ideals of quantum physics that everything you say, your voice, can affect a star on the other side of the galaxy. That is how much we are connected. And if we just use that simple understanding of quantum physics, then I'm sure that we could understand how God is living through all of us and all energy, including plants and energy, and it's all connected. We look at mushrooms, we look at mycelium, we look at mushrooms and mycelium and how they connect everything. And there are intermittent between, they're our oldest terrestrial ancestors. So how do we look above as saying below, right? A tree's leaves are this kind of the same as their roots. And when mycelium from a mushroom can connect all the roots, it's God energy that's connecting all of our hearts. So today, I want you to meditate and be in a state of peace. And then I want you to put peace out there and live in that light and that love and in all consciousness. I want you to be very conscious, very aware today, aware of your emotions, aware of how you respond, aware of what's triggering. Well, you should already be kind of aware of that by now. We've been kind of working through that the last couple services, right? We've been kind of acknowledging what makes us particularly kind of go, oh, right. So this is that time to make your mind up to, you know what, maybe I'm not going to do that action anymore. Maybe I'm not going to respond that way anymore. Maybe I'm going, see, for me, it's communicating and saying that. Instead of saying that, I'm just going to start saying what that thing is. That is so annoying. Well, that's just my coffee cup. But if you don't know that's my coffee cup, it's a confusing thing, right? How we communicate is so important. Our words are important, and the meanings of the words are important. Just like I refuse to say good morning anymore because there's nothing good about morning. Or have a good week or a good weekend. I don't want to be weak, and I don't want to be weak at the end of a very long week. And no. Words are spells, spelling. It's the same thing. That's why our words are so important. God, it comes out through our words because our words are, they have water in them, right? Water vapor. And that water vapor holds memory. And that memory and that emotion and that frequency is being expelled into the cosmos and affecting your entire biosphere, that when you come into another human or another biosphere being, whether it's an animal or a plant, you have an instant read of what that biosphere is. That's how you're like, ooh, I don't know about this person. Maybe they're kind of weird, because of their thoughts, how they speak. It affects how we interact with them and with ourselves. So this is why your voice is so important. This is why words are so important. This is why understanding that there is no such thing as time is so important. There's cycles. It's a sicklier year, right? There's no such thing as time. Our bodies are reacting to what we believe time is. If we sing happy birthday 3 times and have you blow out a candle, that's facilitating not a wish, but a spell. So when we look at witchcraft, when we look at the same techniques that are being used in our everyday world, we're not even seeing that we have constant witchcraft on us in a negative way, like a black witchcraft, not like a white witchcraft, which is like happy stuffs. Not like that. It's to keep us in that slave mentality, because if you're in that slave mentality, you won't go to the Holy Land, in the mind, in heaven. You won't be at peace. And when you're not at peace, you can be easily manipulated. When you're easily manipulated, well, c'est la vie. But I'm going to end this on a good note. All of that love that we inspired with our meditation today, all of that peace, all of that happiness, everything that resonates that is good, I want you to hold on to that. I want you to really sit down and write a plan for this next year. If it's not a business plan, write a year plan. Just write some goals. Write a 6-month plan, then write a 30-day plan, and then write a month plan, and then write a week plan, and then write a day plan. How are you going to get to that end goal? Break it down into steps. You know, write all the steps down and then kind of put it where it needs to go. Does it need to go in the month plan? Does it need to go? And adjust. Don't feel guilty, because you don't need to vibrate lower trying to elevate higher. That doesn't work. So really be in a state of peace. If you need help in this next year, or you're having a difficult time moving forward, please send a DM, an email, whatever you can to reach out. Comment below if you need to want me to DM you. But please, we're all in this together. Every single one of us, whether we like it or not. So reach out and don't hold it in. It's not worth it. So I love you all. I hope you have an amazing New Year's Eve. Be safe. Please don't drink and drive. They actually have not just Uber and Lyft, but there's like places on New Year's, a lot in the cities, even in small rural areas, that do free taxis on tonight. So if you need that, please look it up ahead of time. But we're going to try to keep our mind and bodies pure and not corroded with impedance of energy, right? When we are too intoxicated, we cannot connect. We are sending messed up waves into the cosmos. So even Jesus had a beer at the bar. We read that all the time. But to be gluttonous and to hurt the body is not something that is favored. So why not this New Year's choose a different path? Let's do some self-care. Go back and listen to the meditation. Go back and do what you need to for self. Maybe take a bath for New Year's. Whatever it is that you're going to bring in this new year different than how you've always done it. It's about growth. So namaste, God bless, blessed be, shalom, all of the things. Happy New Year. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed 2024. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.